welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting us.
Can you introduce yourselves?
Jina lako. Okay.
Sokoine.
Sokoine?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Sokoine. I'm
Hi.
also going to have my partner Charles join me today.
Oh, Toto. Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you? Oh, and this is our child who wants to be in the picture too.
Oh, nice. What's his name?
His name is Yannick.
Yannick. Hi, Yannick.
Oh, Yannick. Hi.
Yeah, this is Mira.
Toto.
Yeah, Mira.
Hi.
Say hi.
Huh?
So I wanted to invite you to today because I wanted to talk about a little bit about Maasai and the way of life. So my first question is, first tell me how you guys met, and we can start there.
Okay. Wanatuuliza tumekutana kivipi, lakini ngoja niongee mimi. We met in 2011 when I was volunteering on Mafia Island, which is an island off the coast of Tanzania, south of Zanzibar. And I was doing a marine research there. And we worked in the same village. So I was based on a research camp and he was working as a security guard for a dive center. So this is how we met. And yeah, and I knew Swahili already because I'd already been in Tanzania for a whole year because Sukwana doesn't speak English so well. But because I knew Swahili, we could already communicate. And I saw him the first day I was on the island. And this was also the first day that I looked at him and I thought I was attracted to him. I was fascinated by him from the start. I don't know how he felt about me, but anyway, maybe like after 6 weeks on the island, someone told me that he likes me, which I never thought would be possible because it was just out of this world. He was out of this world for me. So, but then someone told me, hey, there comes your Maasai. And I'm like, oh, why do you call him that? And that's, oh, you don't know, Stephanie? That's because he likes you. So from this moment, yeah, then I gathered my courage and then we started talking and that's how it evolved.
And are you originally from where, Stephanie?
From Germany.
From Germany. And so I guess fast forward, you started dating, and at what point do you realize that you want to move? And usually, you know, I think if you look at just the world, and we are all definitely mixing, right? But a lot of the time people move to the European way of life, but, you know, or European country, but you did the opposite. So tell me why you decided, at what point you decided that you want to live there?
Well, I knew that I wanted to stay in Tanzania even before I met Sokoine. It was not him that made me first consider that I wanted to stay here. Like I said, when I met him, I'd already been in Tanzania for a whole year. I'd already learned the language. I already loved the way of life. And my first year also I spent on a research camp in the middle of the bush, close to the Selous Game Reserve. So I already was close to nature. I loved that way of life because I'm a conservationist, I'm a biologist. I always wanted to live close to nature, and I wanted to make a little bit of a difference in our world to preserve the last wild spaces left that we have. This was always, always, always my passion. So for me to be living in Tanzania, it was a dream come true. And then when I met him and fell in love with him so crazily, then he gave me even more of a reason to stay. But I knew I wanted to stay even before I met him. And we decided to move to his boma because my work contract had run out on Mafia. So I saw this as the only way to try and stay in the country. I said, hey, I don't know anything about Maasai, but I heard about you. I like to live in the bush. I think I can do this. So let's try. That's what I said. And he said, yeah, sure, let's do it. Because he wants to stay here. He wants to live his traditional Maasai life with his cows, with his family. He didn't want to live on Mafia or anything like that. And me, I agreed because, yeah, I wanted to be close to him, and I thought I saw this as the only way of doing that.
Oh, that's lovely. And you want to ask him his
What a story. Habari ya nyumbani.
Nzuri, mambo.
Poa, poa, sio mbaya. My Swahili is not very good though, so I try. Najua kidogo haijapotea yote.
Wewe nyumbani wapi?
Mi nyumbani ni Nakuru, Kenya.
Nakuru.
Yeah. Nakuru.
Nafikiri nimewahi kufika Nakuru.
Tumefika Narok.
Narok, okay.
Oh, Narok, sio mbaya. Sio mbali, sio mbali. Oh yeah, nzuri sana. I love the story. I saw her story on YouTube, and it was so inspiring. Your story to
He showed me.
to the Maasai Boma. It's very unusual, but it was so touching. Your story about the life there. It reminded me how I grew up in Kenya, in Nakuru. It was very similar to how the boys there are growing up. You know, they're out there playing every day in the wild, not so much constrained indoors as it is here in America.
Yes.
Yeah, it reminded me so much about back home. And,
yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, and also there was what was the lady's name that was so inspiring? Also, I think it's your mother-in-law, or I'm not sure.
An elder?
What I said.
The elder.
What I said. Yeah, my mother-in-law. Yeah, I was talking about her a little bit in the movie, saying how much I love her, how she's such a nice person, how she just welcomed me with open arms and has always been on my side, always supported me in anything that I do. So that's what I was saying. But I don't think in the movie that is so much about me. I don't think you see my mother-in-law so much.
Oh, yes.
But I talk about her.
She reminded me of a woman that used to take care of us back home. And the women are so strong, and they give always unconditionally. And she reminded me of one of the women that took care of me after my mother passed away, and it was very touching to see that story of her as well.
And the family structure. I mean, so tell us a little bit about Boma. It's a family unit, right? In where you live?
Yes. So we live in his father's Boma. So my husband is the firstborn. His father has 3 wives. So we live in his home, so to say, in his Boma. So we are very many people. So his father has 3 wives, and I think altogether he has 24 children, with my husband being the firstborn. And then some of his younger brothers, of my husband's brothers, they already have wives and they already have children. So I never counted how many people we are, but I don't know, about 50, guessing.
Wow. That's a big Boma.
So was it an adjustment for you to obviously it was probably an adjustment, but you know, just to realize it's a different way of life. Obviously the wives and everything. Did you kind of had to shift your paradigm a little bit to understand that, or were you already accepting of that?
Well, I had to shift myself a lot. But I came here when I think I was 25, yeah. So I was still very young. So it was easy for me to sort of unlearn. And it's really like this. I had to unlearn so many of the things that I had been taught were true. And, you know, the right way of living, what you can do, what you cannot do, how they raise their children. You know, there's so many health or safety worries that we have in the Western world that are not even mentioned here. They just let them be, and so many other ways. But also within the relationship, you know, Maasai culture is strictly divided between the genders. So Maasai women go their way and the husbands go their way. So when I first came to the Boma, Sokoine really tried his best to softly, slowly guide me into his world, but it was still really difficult because obviously he was the only point of contact, the only person that I knew that I was used to. So of course I clung to him, and I only realized that now how much I clung to him and how I made it difficult also for myself holding on to this person instead of, you know, just surrendering and letting go. But after a few years, I did surrender and let go, especially when I had my son, and then my husband took himself away because as a Maasai warrior, he's not allowed to help me rear my child, at least not in the first couple of years or so. So it was his mother-in-law that moved into my house to help me rear my child, that was with me during the sleepless night when the baby was so young still. So, you know, that's when I really got even deeper into the culture, when I had my son. So it was really difficult, incredibly difficult. And there were certain moments where I really thought about leaving, not just one moment. But what made me always stay was the love that I had, not only for my husband. If I'd only loved my husband, I would have left. But I love the culture, I love the way of life, I love his family, I love the Maasai and what they stand for in this world also, as an indigenous tribe. So this knowledge and this love that I have for conservation and for indigenous tribes, this is also what kept me here. And this is why I'm still here today. If I'd only loved my husband, oh God, I would have been gone.
Yeah, I can only imagine how hard it was to come from this Western culture to the Maasai. Right. The day-to-day living is very different. Can you tell us a little bit about the differences every day, like what you do there, and compared to how it was in Germany, for example?
Well, one big difference, for example, is that I don't have to work 9 to 5. So that's a massive positive difference. So I adapted to the traditional Maasai way of life. So when I came here, we bought cattle and we created a farm and goats. So we live off our farm, of our goats, of our cattle. But also I started some projects with the ladies. We do beading and sell them online and that sort of stuff. So my everyday life is pretty much I get up at 6 or 7. We have breakfast. I go look after the goats or the cows. I have my son, obviously, now he starts going to school, so I get him ready for school. Then we cook lunch. Then in the afternoon, so the goats go out at around 10 or 11. And then from then on, it's pretty much quiet time. You cook your lunch. And then this is time for the women to do their beading, to sit in the shade and do beading. And then at 4 or 5, the goats come back. So again, you have to look at the goats. Then at 6 o'clock, the cows come. You milk them. And then you start preparing dinner. And then pretty much at around 8 or 9, that's the time where people start going to sleep. You clean your house, put the children to bed. And then it's pretty quiet because we don't have electricity or anything like that. So we go to bed at like 9, between 9 and 10.
That's a good life. Definitely.
Very simple.
Yes. And you guys see each other like 1 hour a day or something, you said?
Yeah. Wanatuuliza, yani masaa mangapi tunakaa pamoja kwa siku? Sema.
Kile tunakaa masaa 6.
Hapana, mimi na wewe pamoja. I wanted to ask him, but yeah, it's very little because he goes out whenever, if there's a meeting, if there's any sort of issue, he goes out because he's the firstborn also, and he's also very respected in our community. So whenever there's a problem, they call him. So he's spends very little time at home. He's at home in the mornings and in the evenings.
Can you ask him if he, if he when he was working outside of the tribe, and did he always wanted to stay? Did he ever wanted to explore other, living somewhere else, or did he always wanted to stay within the tribe?
Anakuuliza kwa sababu wanajua uliwahi kufanya kazi nje ya hapa. Alikuuliza ulijua daima kwamba unataka kuishi hapa au ulikuwa unafikiria labda kukaa nje ya hapa?
Mimi nimependa, yani ilikuwa nakaa tu kule lakini sipendi.
Did you hear him?
Not very clearly.
Sema tena kwa sababu hajakusikia.
Nimesema mimi ilikuwa sipendi kuishi mbali na hapa. Na ilikuwa ni sababu ya kazi tu, lakini sipendi.
Umesikia?
Maneno alipenda hiyo maisha ya Maasai. Hakutaka hiyo maisha.
Sijapenda, nimeenda
kazi nyingi ama
Ndio. He said he just did the work because he needed to do it. He just went outside of his tribe to feed his family because he was the firstborn, so it was his responsibility to sort of pick up his father's family and make a living, buy food for them, and all the sort of necessities. So he had to leave as soon as he was a young warrior. I think it was maybe 19 or so. He left to do cow business, to buy cattle where we live and put them on a lorry, take them to Dar es Salaam and get a profit from that sort of stuff. So he did it because out of necessity, not because he wanted to. He always knew that he was just working, buying cows so that he could move back, not move back because he never left, but that he could just settle where he is.
Yeah, that's similar to the Kalenjin culture in that's the tribe I belong to. My sister also did something similar with us because she's firstborn in the family, and
Mm-hmm.
she took care of all of us to make sure that when we came to America, that we had a place to stay, and she cared for us while we were here.
Yeah, and the family ties is like very, very, very close.
Strong, yeah.
And so, what is from your perspective, Stephanie? I know I love watching. We watch videos about Maasai tribe before, and I just love their connection to nature and how they live and how much harmony they have in their living. Can you talk about that? Because I think for you it will be also from the outside perspective to see that difference and I think for us we don't realize how much we consume. We don't realize how many resources we use until we see that. And so it's so foreign for us, but at the same time, to me, that's where we should all be moving. That's why I created this platform, so more people will see this indigenous way of living as the right way of living and not what we've been taught before.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said also in the movie that I said spontaneously what I said was if we gave the world to them, the world would still be intact. And this is what I deeply truly believe in, because they're innate conservationists. If they see a tree standing, this tree will still be standing after 50 years because they won't touch it, because they graze their cattle and they do it in a sustainable manner. And they didn't used to be agriculturalists or crop agriculturists, but actually this is changing also. So they're also starting to deforest woodland to make farms. But this is a new thing which came out of necessity because so much land has been taken from them, and less land is available also because land doesn't grow. Human population grows, but land doesn't grow with them. So obviously they keep having more and more children because traditionally they have a lot of children and they don't use birth control. So obviously there's more people and then less land available. So this sort of land pressure causes them to have less cattle. It causes the cattle to have more issues getting enough grass. So especially in the dry season, we have issues that the cattle die of hunger. So this causes also for them to have a need for money, for example, to buy extra food for the cattle. So all of this causes them also because of the change of diet, because in the past they only used to drink milk. So now they started to eat ugali, which is made out of maize. So it causes them to have a need for maize. So that's why they also start to deforest woodland. And it's also one of the big things that I struggle with. There comes destruction from the outside, but there's also destruction from the inside coming from them for a lack of understanding and a lack of foresight and the lack of knowledge of who they are in this world and their value as an indigenous tribe and how important it is for them, not for me, because I understand them, because I'm a biologist, I'm a conservationist, I have my education. I understand what they are. This is not a selfish wish for me because I think they're beautiful. It's because I understand their place in this world and what they mean. Like you said, if everyone lived like an indigenous tribe, if everyone had this indigenous knowledge of how to conserve our planet, we wouldn't be where we are. And it's not like we don't have this knowledge, it's that we disregard this knowledge for profit, for this stupid economic growth that we don't need. And people always talk about development, and I despise that because development means economic growth to people. And I'm always asking, and we grow until where? Like how much longer do we want us to grow? Because this growth is what's digging our grave. So it is not growth, it is actually the end of the world that we're going towards. So if we moved away from always wanting growth and more wealth or whatever, then we would recover our ways, because we all used to be indigenous people. We all used to be indigenous. We all used to have this knowledge, but we
somewhere, of course.
And but we abandoned it.
Yes, and that also brings about more. You can speak to that, of course, but to me, that's a happier way of life for a human being, where you don't have to strap to a job that you despise, and you live within your family. you enjoy your days. You are, you know, you have purpose in a different way. Of course, we all need purpose, but at the same time, you're not rushed everywhere. You actually have
Yeah,
time to grow as a human being.
exactly. Exactly that. Yeah, and this is so sorry, I swiped off your question a little bit. You asked me
No,
what I
you're
liked
perfect.
most about it. Yeah. So this was like, because I'm a conservationist also, this was always in my heart. So of course, when I came to them living in harmony with nature, instantly I realized, I thought, wow, this is paradise. Wow, I can't believe that a place like this still exists. But the longer I lived with them, the more I realized that this beautiful paradise is threatened by so many things, by things from the outside and things also from the inside. But yeah, I agree with you completely. I think it's a much better way of life, but it's not only that it's better because I think it's better, it's because it's better for the world. Because if we all think about what we really need, it is it is more trees in this planet. It is, we have climate change and all that sort of stuff. So if we all lived like the Maasai, we wouldn't have that. This is not like some weird, naive hippie stuff. This is the truth. I'm a biologist. I
Yeah.
have a bachelor in biology. I'm a conservationist. I lived with the Maasai for 10 years. I could have written 2 PhDs if I had wanted to, but I never decided to do that. So what I'm saying comes from not research. Yeah, it's so to say research, because I lived with them for 10 years. I speak their language. I know what they are. I know what they stand for. I know their way of life. And this is the way of life that we need to go back to.
Yes.
That is the truth. Yeah.
That's
We
100%.
definitely need to move towards that way of life.
And also on a personal level, on a personal happiness, that people
Yeah.
are much happier when they live in the community, when they have, you know, that their purpose is not buying more stuff and or a need or you know, because we do have this insatiable need right now. Even, you know, it doesn't matter, it's everything is a product, everything is you know, made and sold, and but and that also kind of traps people into living like this. But I I think this way of life brings about more personal happiness. Don't you agree?
Yes. It does. It does. It brings more happiness. It gives you more time to reflect on who you are, on what you want, or what makes you happy. Because I think so many people lost that connection also with themselves. And that's why I also said these people, that they are in tune with themselves because they never had anything that breaks their balance and their harmony within themselves. Whereas we have been destroyed by a system that tells us to work
Yeah.
for personal gain, for keeping the machine running and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah, that busy life of the West, and it's being influenced. It's influenced so many parts of the world. Everybody's just gets so busy. You have no time to think on
Yeah.
what is good for your life. And but I think with the COVID pandemic situation, I think more people have gotten this time to really, you know, think, because
Yeah.
they're not really working, and a lot of people are not working.
Yeah, they had
Yeah.
to.
And I think
They had
it's gonna be beneficial in that sense to really, you know, go deep within yourself and see what's best for you and what life can really be. I think the world will improve a little bit, even though it looks like very dark situation at the moment.
Yeah. But the light is coming always, I think, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
at least the optimistic. But when you say in tune with themselves, and that you always speak about the inner peace that your husband has, can you speak about that a little bit more?
Well, that's just something, it's hard to put into words.
Yeah, I know.
My sister always laughs at me. She says I'm such a hippie, or there's another word for it that I forgot. But I'm a big believer, and this is what I learned in the 10 years that I lived with them, that you have to have balance within yourself in order to be happy and in order to find out what you're really made for in this world. But this was something that attracted to my husband from the start, that I just felt he had this a lot of calm. He was very calm, this calm aura to him, and yeah, I can't explain it. It's difficult. It's something that you just see in someone and feel in the way he lives his life. And there's not much that brings him out of his calm, or for him to get angry it takes a lot. It takes a lot. So he's a very, very calm person. And I needed that, you attract also your differences, because me, I'm like quite passionate, and
Yeah,
I need someone to calm down a little bit.
I think we have
So
the
yeah.
same dynamic here too. I think
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's beautiful that you can speak, because I think we need more voices that tell people that for so many years of colonialism, these cultures, these people have been dismissed and not heard. And to me, I see that as the only way of moving towards some kind of what's the word, saving of our planet,
Reconciliation.
right? Like that's our way, that's our path that we need to see. Can you just speak, I know you guys, I don't want to take too much of your time, but can you speak about some of the ways that you see immediately that come to mind that are already, could be put on in our textbooks per se, like something that you see that need to be implemented and need to be you know taken upon here in this culture as well, in these cultures as well, in the modern world?
So can you rephrase your question very shortly? Sorry.
Yeah, no. So what are some of the ways of Maasai tribe that you see that we could use in our modern world that could help us save our planet?
Cherish nature, respect nature, realize that our lives depend on it, because the Maasai cherish it because they have cattle, and the cattle depend on grass, and grass depends on rain, and rain depends on an intact ecosystem. So because of that, they cherish nature. So we need to do that too. We need to remember that without nature in trees and running water and balance, this balance that we are destroying, we will, I don't want to sound gloomy and darky, but it's true. I mean, we are going to die. This planet is going to die. And we've already entered this path. So we need to remember this is what comes from the Maasai. And we need to remember how to be better people, be kinder people, be kinder to ourselves, but also to our friends, to our family. Take the time to listen. I find it so difficult sometimes that my Western friends, when I talk about something, having a conversation like we are having now, and you're a complete stranger, but I could not be having this conversation with my friends because they wouldn't be taking the time. They'd be saying, Stephanie, oh, you talk like a hippie and there's nothing we can do anyway. Well, we need to recover this passion. We need to start talking, to be having these conversations, meaningful conversations. Stop having conversations about the jeans you're buying. Stop having conversations about the new haircut you want to get, because these are things to distract you from what is really important. But it's difficult. I know I'm talking because I'm incredibly privileged to be living the life I'm living. And I know it's difficult to break out of this machine, but it's possible. And it starts slowly. It starts with thinking in our heads. It starts with remembering who we are as humanity. It starts remembering that the planet we are walking on is our only home, and we need to remember what is really important. So this is the message that comes from the Maasai, to start going back to the roots, to start respecting Mother Nature.
Yes, it's a beautiful message, Stephanie. And I wonder if your husband would like to add something to this, because I think there, when you say innate ability, I totally understand. It's this original human knowledge that doesn't come from your intellect. It's something that we all have.
Yeah.
And I think when you speak to them being connected to that, that is the absolute truth, that knowledge comes from the universe, from the stars, from the planets, from the earth, all together combined. We all hold this knowledge. And you're right.
Yes.
Looking at their ways of life and their even the way that they look at you, you know that they know is what I mean. Right? So I wonder if he has something to add towards, because he's been working obviously in different environments. He's been outside of the tribe. can you see if he can share his perspective on how we can better preserve the planet and what he can, you know, what he can feel or
What
say
we can
about
learn.
that.
Yeah. Anakuuliza Masai, unafikiri Masai wanaweza kutufundisha nini katika dunia, katika hali ya dunia, katika kutunza mazingira, katika vitu muhimu katika maisha na dunia. Nini tunaweza kujifunza?
Yani tunahitaji kujifunza kama yani kutunza mazingira kwanza, na kujifunza kama mambo ya milo sababu tunapenda sisi, na kujifunza enaboishu
Unity.
unity.
Na kitu kingine?
Hii ni nakumbuka tayari.
Ngoja labda ukikumbuka utasema. Amesema kitu vizuri, amesema we need to sorry, I'm talking Swahili, sorry. He said we need to learn how to respect nature, and we need to learn how to respect also cultures. He said utamaduni, so that means culture, mila ya Kimasai, so that means culture. We need to respect different cultures. And then he said something really beautiful. He said in the Ma language, Onaiboshu, and that means unity. So I think he finds it hard to put into words, but I think what he means is that we are one humanity. You see me here talking a European woman married to a Maasai, and I'm talking to you, someone from Kenya, someone from the US.
Oh, yeah.
So we are all one, we are all humanity, and we need to relearn that also.
Yeah, that's the lesson that needs to be learned for all of us. That's a wonderful message. And can he sing a little bit of the Maasai, like a Maasai song? Unaweza kutuimbia kitu kidogo? Unaweza kutuimbia nyimbo ya Maasai moja?
Oh, sasa hivi
kama unaweza.
Sasa hivi nilimba nyingi sana. Una moja inaitwa Olaleyo.
Unaweza kutuimbia kidogo tusikie?
Sio sasa hivi, sababu kichwa imejaa. Tulimba sana.
Oh, mulimba sana
sana.
Oh.
Walimba sasa hivi.
Oh, okay. Labda siku ingine basi.
Siku nyingine.
Okay.
Lakini labda tupe message kwa Kimasai. Give us a message from the Maasai to the world, or just from you in tema kutoka.
Kwamba
ongea tu kitu ambao message ambao unataka kumpa dunia kwa Kimasai kutoka Maasai.
Mimi nataka nimwambie ayunajoki en dunia sio kama tunasikia tenekini emweyan, tusiogope sana kwa sababu uweze kujificha kwa emweyan. Tunahitaji kujiandaa tu kuwa tusiamini.
Anachanganya, he's mixing Ma and Swahili.
He mixed both.
I asked him if he had
That's why I couldn't really get the whole the whole picture.
Yeah, I told him maybe you can tell us something in Ma, like one last thing from the Maasai to the world, but then he was mixing it with Swahili. But he was saying that to give a message of hope to the people right now in this situation, let's not be scared. You know, disease and illnesses, they come and go, but we as humanity, we will survive. So don't take it as a big thing. Be brave, don't be scared. This will pass also. This is what he's saying.
Oh, that's a wonderful message, yeah. No fear. You have to stay with faith. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. Maybe next time he's gonna sing for us. We'll remember that.
I think you push shy.
Fascinated by the singing. We all are, and I think that's part of it too. Is
I love it.
When we see the different daily activities, we are so fascinated because having space to express like that, and everyone is creative, everyone is part of it, and everyone is doing it together. There's so much harmony in their living. Can you speak about that a little bit, Stephanie? With different activities.
Harmony?
Yeah, like harmony. You can be creative. That's what I love about their culture. They're so creative. Besides, you know, obviously living in nature, but also they have this time for creativity, for beadwork, for expressing with dance and music and song, with something that we really lost, I think, as humanity. And we all, indigenous people, all have that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's part of your identity. So I think also a strong identity from birth onwards. This is also, yeah, it leads you to be someone who is in tune with themselves and harmony with themselves, because you know who you are, and it's not easy to be a, you know, a tree that is swept by a strong wind. You know you're going to be strong. You're going to be a strong tree with strong roots because you have been raised like this. You are Maasai. This is your family. These are your songs. This is your culture. We don't have that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And do you know what they believe in, like the spirituality for the Maasai people?
Yeah, a lot of. Sorry.
It's just
Go
baby
ahead.
talking. Sorry.
So a lot of people ask me that, and I think it's also very important. They have their tribal spirituality, so a natural spirituality. What I also always say, we have to distinguish spirituality and religion, because religion is something that profits off the spirituality of 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 indigenous humanity, because we all used to have our spirituality, our indigenous spirituality, but it was taken away by the church.
Yeah.
And this is also what's threatening to happen within the Maasai culture. But Maasai believe in Ngai, and I don't want to translate it as God. I want to translate it as the creator, the one who keeps everything in balance, in harmony. And Ngai is the one who makes it rain, and Ngai is the one who lets the grass grow, and Ngai is the one who looks after the cattle of the Maasai, is the spiritual being that keeps everything in balance. And this is the natural belief system of the Maasai, which is being challenged by Christianity.
And do they still believe in that, or do they take on Christianity now?
Oh, it's a difficult question because we have a church also. I'm giving you the example of our village because I can't speak for the Maasai in general because that's really difficult.
Oh, that's true.
But in our village, we have a church, but when Christianity came here, the Maasai had meetings about it, and they said, the men said, let the women go with it. If they want to believe, if they want to go to church, let them go to church. But as men, no, because this is to do with how divided the culture is between the genders. So the men don't want to mix with the women. So the men just gave something to the women which they didn't really want to be part of, but the women accepted it, and many of the women now go to church. But they still have their traditional belief systems. They still know what they are. They still remember them, but they're less practiced.
Wow, that's very interesting. It'll be wonderful to talk to like a chief Maasai man who like, or if there's a book written somewhere about all the.
I don't think they write books in that. It's an oral. That's the beauty, I think, of this. And that's why we need to be preserving. And I think I love, Stephanie, that you are recording, and there is all this stuff now that exists because it is an oral tradition. A lot of these things that we are losing right now is the oral traditions and things that were passed along almost in your DNA from one person to another, and these stories that are told. But I think that's not being preserved as much.
Yeah, you're doing wonderful work there.
Yes.
About the preservation of that Maasai ancient culture.
It comes from love. It comes from love for the Maasai. It comes from love for our planet.
Yeah, you can definitely sense that passion, and I think we share the same passion, because I really feel when you speak about this, I really feel that, and I know that we can turn things around. We really can. We just have to start listening, like you said, to people like Maasai, to other indigenous cultures who still hold the knowledge, to a great and beautiful way of living where we can live in harmony, where we can be happy. That's that. If you don't do it for the planet, do it for your own sake, so you can know who you are, discover it, and you know, live this beautiful life, because it's a life of connection. It's a life of love and giving, and I think that's all we need to strive for that. Is there anything that you can share with people that can help you along your journey, or you know, if there's any resources that you would like to share? Do you want to share anything with everyone who we have? I think we had over 200 people tuning in and watching. So
yeah. So if you're asking if I have any resources, I don't have any. My resource is my head and the Maasai and the beautiful people that I share my life with. My resource is my Instagram. If you need inspiration, if you need to read up on what we've been saying, this is the essence of my Instagram. But I would encourage people to sit down, be still, don't be scared of taking time out from the busy Western lifestyle. Don't be scared to listen to your inner voice, because I know it can be scary because it might tell you that you're unhappy. But also I've been through ups and downs. Oh my God. But it's the downs that I've been through that made me stronger, and that showed me where I was meant to go. So let's not be scared of falling to our knees. I said this also. This life has brought me to my knees more than once. And I'm not saying this because I want compassion or I want to put myself on the throne, whatever. I'm saying this to encourage people. Don't be scared to face your demons, because we all have them. And in order for this world to be cured, and for ourselves to be cured, we have to face those demons. So there's no books I can tell you to read, because I never read them myself. My teachers were the Maasai. And again, I say I'm incredibly privileged. But go out there, read the books if I need to read them, follow inspirational accounts, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, just try. Just put it in your head that you want to change, and put it in your head that you want to be a better person and do something for humanity. And this is where the path, where your journey starts. This is all I can say.
that's beautiful. That's all you need to say. I think you're right. I think I'm same thing with the darkness. The way in the darkness is the way to the light. I always believe that, and we've been through our shares of up and down this year and the last 2 years, and I think it is an absolute point where you become a better person. You grow when you face those demons, like you said.
Difficulties. Yeah.
I also wish for everyone, and that's part of my mission with the platform I have, is that I have to say what they have to share, their knowledge, and respecting it, because a lot of the times in post-colonial world, this knowledge either lost or disrespected or twisted, and I think we need more people like you, both of you, to share this knowledge and to help the world, because we all have our part. We are like bees, right? You know, we bring our little pollen and bring our knowledge into this big picture. So I really would love to thank you for what you're doing, Stephanie. And so coin, right? So say it again. I'm gonna get it right.
Mwambie jina lako.
Sokoine.
Sokoine.
Yes.
Sokoine.
Well, of course you can say it. So thank you guys. I know that your time is precious, and thank you so much for joining. If there's anything you'd like to add, the time is now.
Nataka kuongeza kitu. My husband, also my husband says thank you very much.
Asante sana
we come to Kenya. We hope to come visit. We'll definitely try to come to Tanzania and hopefully visit you all there. It'll be nice to see you face to face.
Karibu, welcome.
Asante, asante sana.
Okay, we thank you so much for your time and for giving us a voice and for listening to us.
Thank you. I will be in touch, and I would love to create more content with you. So we'll be in touch. Sending love.
Thank you.
To all everyone who's
You
watching.
too.
Thank you for all the comments. Oh, they want question and answers. Wait, so someone wants a question. If someone has a question, ask it quick. There's a question and
No.
answers. Okay. Okay. No one has a question just yet, but if you guys want to get your questions answered, please let us know, and we will hold the session and we'll do it again for all of you. Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right,
Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you, bye.